In the port city of Rotterdam, a group of protesters gathers outside one of Holland's new floating detention centres. A Lebanese family joins them, anxious to contact their brother locked up inside.
I love you. How are you? Yes! Oh, we hear you! We can hear you! We are here for you! We can even see you!
Inside these gigantic metal barges, hundreds of would-be immigrants are feeling the heavy arm of Dutch justice. For families trapped on the outside, it's too much to bear.
Nou, ik heb 13 jaar in deze land gewoond en ik vond het allemaal altijd goed gaan. Ik ben hier opgegroeid, ik ben altijd hier naar school gegaan. En het ging allemaal goed en perfect. En het laatste toen het in de procedure kwam van terugkeer, was het gewoon eigenlijk alleen maar ellendig.
In recent years, Holland's conservative right-wing government has embarked on an ambitious and some say ruthless campaign to deter migrants. On paper, the number of asylum requests has been slashed by 90% from 40,000 a year to just 4,000. But the cost to human rights and to Holland's international reputation may be high.
People were treated like they were criminals with a Muslim, or like they were dogs, basically. They shouted at them all the time. You know, if a Muslim was praying, you know, just pushed away. And you know, these people haven't done anything wrong, but they are treated like they're animals.
It's a big shame. It's Holland who has always a big mouth about human rights, and now we are maybe condemned by Amnesty International.
This is the author of Holland's tough new approach, Minister for Immigration, Rita Verdonk. She's well qualified. Verdonk is a former prison warden. She claims Margaret Thatcher as a political role model, and her enemies have dubbed her Iron Rita.
She was the one who expelled all the asylum seekers. She was the one who gave our country another policy on that, as far as it concerns the asylum problems.
Verdonk's success often has her compared to the maverick anti-immigration politician Pim Fortuyn, who was murdered in 2002. Like him, she's admired, despised, and under attack. Here, protesters ambushed Verdonk, spraying her with tomato sauce. Attacks like this have become so common that she's been given her own bodyguards.
Nou ja, natuurlijk schrik je daarvan. Ik bedoel, ik loop u goedemiddag te zeggen en ik loop naar binnen toe. En ik denk ineens, goh, wat gebeurt er nu? Nou, ik kan u zeggen dat het tomatenketchup was. En dat ik het voor de rest eigenlijk alweer vergeten ben en nu naar de tentoonstelling ga kijken. Dank u.
Back in Rotterdam, Verdonk has come up with her own version of Australia's offshore detention centres.
My dear brother, I was 7 months here. I know how difficult inside. I know how pain inside.
More than 700 people are detained at any one time on these two barges.
They are 6 people in one little cell. They cannot breathe some air. If they air them in cages like Guantanamo Bay. They, for little offenses, people are being put in isolation cells.
For the prisoners, the demonstration offers a rare chance to communicate with the outside.
Hoe is het met je been? Hoe is het met je been?
Amani Shaban and her family are trying to make contact with their brother and son, Fidel.
Ze willen iedereen uitzetten na 13 jaar. Ik bedoel, als je tegen een Nederlander zegt, na 13 jaar word je het land uitgezet, zeggen ze, nou, ik schaam me echt van deze land.
Holland's prison barges were rarely mentioned in the Dutch media until a journalist used subterfuge to get on board.
When you've done a murder or when you're a rapist in Holland, you get treated much better than when you've done basically nothing, and that's what I think is really very cruel.
Robert van de Griend edits a Dutch news magazine, and several months ago he saw an opportunity to experience life on the barges. He spotted a job advertisement for guards and decided to apply.
And 1 week later I was a guard on the boat and was responsible for the well-being of about 450 illegal immigrants.
Van de Griend spent weeks working undercover. He says conditions are abysmal and the guards often respond to complaints with violence.
You can actually see them going mad, the people over there. I could actually tell that almost everyone on that boat had psychological problems. So there's stress and fighting all the time, and because you haven't got trained guards on the boat, nobody is able to just say, well, you know, just boys, keep it down. They immediately punish you and start to hit, and so it's a very stressy situation.
Van de Griend says while the government portrays the detention barges as a clever solution, the majority of detainees end up staying in Holland.
They're all put in the boats to be sent out of the country in the end. But in practice, research has shown that only 30% is actually sent out of the country. The other 70% is just thrown on the streets after a year. And then they tell the people, you have to be out of the country in 24 hours. But that doesn't happen, of course. They all stay in Holland, be illegal, till the police get them off the streets again and put them in the jail again. So then the story starts all over.
On the outskirts of Amsterdam, I visit a different kind of refugee facility. It's not a detention centre. Residents here are free to come and go as they exhaust their appeals for asylum.
People kill themselves, they commit suicide because of the living situation. Wait years and years and years and they're just tired of it.
Helena is an Ethiopian asylum seeker who's been stuck here with her young son for nearly 6 years. She says the years of waiting to try and get through the appeals process take their toll.
There are people who just become numb and don't see nothing, don't hear nothing, just become numb, you know, and live with the medication. You know him or you know her. Last year she was okay, perfectly okay. This year you saw her, she becomes somebody else or he becomes somebody else.
The people come into the Netherlands and 85% in the end can't stay here. So
85% of applications are rejected normally?
Yeah.
Press spokesman Michael Slaager says that sooner or later everyone has to leave.
And they are put in the street or outside these centers. They have no rights to live here anymore.
So that's when they might find themselves in a detention center?
It's possible when they're working like illegal and the police finds them working illegal that they go to a detention center. But as I said, most people they leave by themselves.
Ik moet gewoon vandaag haar hier uit deze kamer zetten. Er zijn andere asielzoekers die recht hebben op opvang. En zij heeft haar tijd gehad. En de regelgeving is zo dat zij nu eruit gezet moet worden.
This Sudanese family has been denied asylum, but the government is not deporting them. Instead, they're being evicted from the refugee centre where they've lived for 5 years and left to fend for themselves.
Het is dus een vrouw met een dochter van 2 maanden en dat is nogal bizar, vindt u niet?
Het kan soms hard overkomen. Ik weet niet wat we daarmee moeten.
It's hard to believe, but in 21st century Holland, immigrants, including young families, really are turned out onto the street.
Worden als hij niet vrijwillig gaat. Het is niet anders. Ik heb de regelgeving niet bedacht. Het kan soms hard overkomen. Het spijt me. Ik wacht 5 minuten op de gang.
Under the new system, scenes like this are becoming regular events. In a few minutes, the family is on the street, with no food, no shelter, and no rights.
The Dutch government says you don't exist any longer. So that's the point that we say you can't treat people like this. You have to give them a permit if it is clear that they don't get sent back to their country.
As the immigration spokesman for the Dutch Socialist Party, politician Jan de Wit says the new immigration laws in Holland are inhumane and absurd.
You can call this a good law if the result of the law is that 1/3 of the people doesn't exist officially but are illegal here at this moment. You have to give these people a permit to stay here. That's the most human result what we have to do.
There are up to 26,000 asylum seekers who've been rejected by the Dutch government. They rely almost totally on the kindness of strangers like Ahmed Pouri, who runs a refugee centre in Holland's capital, The Hague.
These people, they put them on the street and they can't survive. And there are some good people in Netherlands, they give this food to them and they try to distribute this food for refugees. They are in very difficult situation.
The creation of a new immigrant underclass is causing concern in the rest of Europe. But more than anything, it's the deaths of immigrants in custody that has brought Rita Verdonk's immigration policy into disrepute. On October 27th last year, a fire ripped through a prison complex at Amsterdam Schiphol airport. 11 foreigners awaiting deportation died in the blaze. With no fire alarm or even a proper escape system, the victims were left to burn alive in their cells and their pleas for help ignored. Dateline has investigated the tragedy and tracked down some of the survivors.
The whole room there was filled up with smoke. We pressed the intercom, nobody came.
Fatoba is a Nigerian man who was locked in the cell block where the fire broke out. He and his cellmate screamed for help for at least 15 minutes with no response.
The door is a metal door. If you bang very hard on the door, you might have injury. So my friend now, we start banging the door, shouting for help. Nobody came.
2 female guards finally raised the alarm, but it was another 15 minutes before help arrived. The source of the fire, which appeared to be deliberately lit, was in cell number 11, and when prison guards finally got there, they rushed to open it first.
They opened the cell number 11, and they saved this man. He was the only man, he was alone in the cell. The rest in every cell are 2 prisoners.
Ahmed Puri says what followed was an inept response which further compounded the tragedy.
If they opened this door, then that is normal to open the door of the cell number 10 and 9 and 12, 13 and so on, because fire was here. Here was the dangerous area. But the reason is not clear for nobody up to now why they begin from absolutely wrong side. So they begin from cell number 1 to open the cell doors, and also from this side from cell number 26. So they can save the people until here.
Puri says testimony given by an Afghan inmate, the last prisoner to be released from his cell, proves the guards knew there were people still trapped inside.
When he arrived here, he said, I heard from the guards, they said, now we will close the whole section and nobody are allowed to go inside. And he said, no, there are 5 cells are closed and I saw many of them are alive. We can't let them to burn in the fire.
Some people of the Buffer, the guards, they was laughing.
They were laughing on this night?
Yeah. They don't care.
Aguri, a young Libyan man, was one of those who survived the blaze. He'd been located in cell number 1 with a Ukrainian man called Taras. When he realized that Taras hadn't made it outside, he protested to the guards.
I told them, let me, I go back.
You offered to go back to get him?
Yeah.
And what did they say?
They stopped me. And I said that to the police when they made an interview with me. I said that to them, because this is the truth. That's what happened. I asked them, the man is still inside.
The following day, the body of Aguri's Ukrainian cellmate was discovered. It was on the floor next to the main exit door that the guards had sealed shut. His name was Taras Biluk, and he was 29 years old.
Коли я прийшла в морг, то побачила такого маленького. Він був дуже маленький. Дуже велика труна, але він був дуже маленький. Не знаю я.
Dateline tracked down Taras's family in the Ukraine. According to his sister Galina, when she first saw her brother's body weeks later in an Amsterdam morgue, he looked like he'd been beaten.
Тут синець видно добре, і отут на брові. І так воно навіть збито сильно, аж він падав сильно, бо до крові збив собі.
Nine months after the tragedy, Taras's family has many questions about their brother's death. And while they acknowledge that he may have broken the rules, they believe his imprisonment and his death were preventable.
Ці двері, тоді люди могли би спокійно врятуватися. Вони ж не злочинці. Для чого, і взагалі, для чого тих людей було закривати? Їх можна було, вже добре. Є такий закон, існує такий закон, що треба таких людей ізолювати. Але навіщо їх закривати як злочинців?
Taras came from Lvov, an old sprawling city in western Ukraine near the Polish border. It's a pretty place, but with high unemployment and a stagnant economy, life remains tough for most. And it was for those reasons Taras made his way to the Netherlands, where he worked illegally for more than a year.
Я вважаю, що він нічого злого для держави не зробив. Він чесно працював і чесно заробляв свої гроші. І ті гроші, які він заробляв, тільки для того, щоб допомагати родині тут на Україні. І з кожним може статися, що людина якимось чином схибила в житті. Але, по-перше, навіщо, ще раз повторюю, таких людей, які мали звичайні порушення, ув'язнювати?
Answers have been slow in coming, and the truth may never be revealed. In the weeks after the tragedy, several survivors were deported before they could be interviewed by police. An independent commission of inquiry was set up, and although its findings haven't been released, a draft copy is said to condemn the government and Minister Verdonk in particular. For more than 8 weeks, Dateline has been attempting to secure an interview with Rita Verdonk to get a response to the many serious questions raised by the airport prison fire and the alleged human rights abuses on board the floating immigration detention centres. We were eventually told that our interview request would be granted on the basis that our questions would be submitted in advance. Having complied, our confirmed interview due to take place today here at the Dutch Parliament building was cancelled, and the Ministry of Justice refused to provide anyone to be interviewed on camera. Every morning, Galina and her mother walk to their local church to remember Taras. But their daily routine at the church isn't just about offering prayers for his soul. They're also praying that justice will be served.
Я би дуже хотіла знати всю правду. Для мене не важливо все інше. Я би хотіла знати всю правду. Я не є людина мстива чи зла, але я хочу, щоб люди, які завинили смерті тих людей, конкретно мого брата, щоб вони понесли покарання.